So I keep getting asked the question, what do you mean by location data stories? So let's jump through it very quickly in this video. So let's start the story. I'm going to focus my attention on one particular business problem, and that's around poles, power poles. But power poles have a lot of stuff on them. It's not just power. Cable companies use them. Telecommunication companies use them. So look at poles as you drive in past or walking past to see the stuff that's on them. A lot of management, a lot of stuff that needs to be done to actually keep the utilities and all of these things that we're getting in our homes and our phones going. So let's set the stage. There are new sensors. I've spoken those many times. They're arriving. These miniaturized sensors. There's an example of one. That's a LiDAR sensor. And by the way, the newest iPhone has got LiDAR built in. So we're building lots and lots of sensors. They're all miniaturized. We are putting those sensors on all sorts of transportation equipment, like I'll call it that, but satellites, fixed wing planes, drones, vehicles moving along, people standing on the ground. So these sensors are going into all of these places to collect that data. But you should think of this data essentially as oil. That's really what it is. It's like a can of oil. We process the data and we make it available to people via, there's an example of pumping stations. So we've done that, we've made that stuff available, we've collected it. So what does that mean then for the power companies? What does that mean for the telecom and cable companies? Well, they can start analyzing that data and start using that data to help them with their work. So let's walk through a few situations that are geospatial and let's visualize that data. So we start off with maps. There's a two-dimensional map. Classic sort of GIS output. It shows you where the power line is. It shows you where the poles are. It shows you where the things are that, like vegetation, are around those particular assets. Images, spherical images are super useful. We've got new sensors now that are collecting, high def images, and we can actually get a sense of what that pole looks like, what's on that pole. Wonderful. LiDAR. We can now convert that data into point clouds, as they call them, so we can actually start navigating that world in 3D. So as if we were standing there walking around the pole, we can see that now on our computers. Wonderful. We can also do things with recognition. So let's move into the AI world. So we can actually take that pole and we can actually have AI recognize what's on that pole. Is this a power supply? Is this a fiber box? So we can actually automatically define and understand and label what those things are. So there's another piece of that. We can take that and bring that into a 3D point cloud, so we can actually have sort of intelligent objects in that world. So not only am I looking at it in a sort of digital reality world, but I can recognize what it is. That's very powerful. So what else can I do? There's all sorts of other sensors that are out there. There's hyperspectral sensors, which are just mind-blowing to me. We can actually show, like in that picture there, what the trees are, where the trees are, what state the trees are in. Are they dead? Are they partially dead? What type of tree is it? So we can do all sorts of understanding of essentially what our eyes can't see. One more, we can use thermal as well. So that is a power line which shows whether a box is hot or cold. How useful is that? Well, is it on? Is it off? Is it in a state where it's a problematic temperature? So we are entering a new world, and all of this stuff I'm talking about here it allows you to tell stories using data, which helps drive from a problem. Maybe it's how, and in this case I'm talking about poles and assets on poles, but think about the stories you can tell, and using all this data that we've got to actually tell stories which help your customers understand better how they can more efficiently get things done, make better decisions using location-based data.